Welcome back to Solomon's Porch with your host, Jason. Hello?
Huh?
You ready to
Oh,
roll?
did you start?
Yeah.
Bro, man, I just got my brownie, man.
You know what's great about this? Your video
What's
feed's
that?
not jumping right now.
It's not?
Hallelujah.
Well, that's
It's
wonderful.
working out pretty good. In case everybody didn't know, we upgraded the computer that we are recording this on, so skipping shouldn't be anywhere near as much of a problem as it was before. And is
This is
that
a
a good
really
brownie?
good brownie.
Is it keto or hash?
Um, Neither.
Okay.
It's jam full of sugar.
Let
Very fudgy. My daughter made it from
me see.
scratch, so
Oh, yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, man. Well, let's jump into the news this week. Before we jump in real quick, though, I do want to mention TrueStrengthApparel.com. Y'all head over to True Strength Apparel. Check out Aaron Simpkins' produce, his products over there. Still love his Stronger Things t-shirt merch. Go check that out. And
He has produce.
he has produce. Yes, that
Pro-
and the other.
Produce like fruits and vegetables produce?
No, just stuff that he produces.
Oh.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
So anyway, sponsor for the show. Shout out to him. So interesting thing this week, man. So coming up here on March 18th, we have the Snyder Cut being released on HBO Max and it's just HBO Max exclusively, I think. Is it in theaters? Oh man, I don't even know.
As far as I know, it's just HBO Max.
Okay, so it's HBO Max, 4-hour release. That makes sense. It wouldn't be in theaters because theaters are not going to let that roll. So the problem is, they released Tom and Jerry, the movie, on HBO Max, and they accidentally released the Snyder Cut under Tom and Jerry. So some folks got a little bit of a sneak peek at the new Snyder Cut Justice League film a little bit early, and once they realized their boo-boo, they immediately cut the feed. So I thought it was hilarious. It was funny. Just knowing that the people that get paid a whole crapload of stupid amounts of money makes stupid errors and careless mistakes just like I do. So that made me feel a little bit better. Also, Disney Plus has actually surpassed 100 million subscribers. And I see here later on in the notes that they're going to be going up later in price this month. Is that right, Sean?
Yeah, so they're supposed to be going up in price, not by a whole lot. They haven't told us exactly how much, but they're feeling like their content has got backing and obviously a number of subscribers. But if you listen to the Star Wars geeks fans out there on YouTube, you're wondering how is it that they've got 100 million plus subscribers when all these Star Wars fans seem to be like boycotting Disney right now and canceling their subscriptions because of their love-hate or hate to love Darthling Kennedy. So I don't know.
I do know that obviously, what's dude's name? Guy that runs Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro. He's definitely boycotting Disney Plus. I didn't know conservatives boycotted stuff, but apparently they do. So, but I know that Disney, in my stock investments, they've done better for me than Apple or Amazon. So I'm gonna hold on to my Disney stock. Yeah. Anyway, man. So also on Disney Plus, we have Falcon and Winter Soldier coming out March 19th. So that is the day after Snyder Cut. I'm excited. Sean, I know you're excited.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to get that action-packed stuff that we really didn't quite get from WandaVision. Speaking of which, do we want to review the end of WandaVision? We didn't talk about that.
Well, I mean, just quick 2 cents on it. It was fantastic. Some of our predictions kind of hit the mark, but then they threw us curveball after curveball, I think. And I wouldn't want to spoil it, but definitely go watch the series, especially now that it's done. If you haven't watched it yet, go ahead and binge the whole thing through. And then follow up with their assembled backstage or behind the scenes video that they did as well, because that was really pretty cool. It gave you some insight on the actors and how they felt, and um, I, it leaves you at a point where you feel like, definitely a second season of WandaViz, but definitely is not going to be in the same manner. So where do we go from here? They could just leave it where it is and instantly jump into a movie. Frankly, I think they could probably have a standalone WandaVision movie at this point. So they
Yeah.
basically did.
I know for me personally, the this is where we heavily disagree because I think the finale was a huge letdown.
Really?
Really let me down. Yeah. If we're not, I mean, I feel like we could do some spoilers right now because I feel like most people that's going to watch it are going to watch it. But essentially, there was a lot of wasted potential, in my opinion. Especially one particular story aspect they completely threw away. Really upset me. Earlier in the series, with the whole engineer that made the vehicle that Monica Rambeau, they dropped that ball. There were so many balls that they dropped, and a lot of people are saying they can pick them back up later. They can continue it, and then people say, well, if you look on the back end and the comics, this person can cause this, that, and the other to happen. I don't feel like Marvel's doing a fantastic job at following up on a lot of this stuff. They have so much new content coming out. For them to fully
Yeah.
flesh out all of the fan theories, it's going to take like 6 or 7 years.
Well, and see, that's just it. I mean, they're not going to be able to. You're going to have to leave some things as sort of an Easter egg aspect, and that's just where it's going to have to live. They
Right.
might be able to flesh it out somewhere down the road, but even Olsen, Elizabeth Olsen, was talking about in the behind the scenes video. She was talking about how they, even in filming the other movies, they had little Easter egg things that they left there that they weren't sure that they were ever going to be able to capitalize later on. And so for her, part of it was that finally fruition so many years later. I mean, how long has it been since Age of Ultron?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a minute, and so for them to be able to pull that all the way out, it took a long time to get there. So I don't see that it's really any different. It's still setting it up for potentials, for giving us a huge platform to be able to serve us from. Certainly there are things that I wish that they had done this or that, but I also understand again that they can't give it all to us. I'm looking forward to a lot more Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
I was super stoked about her character. I really like the actress. I like what she did so far. Um, but I also know that they can't blow everything out in this one TV show. They're gonna have to dole it out in little bits and pieces, and so I'm okay with it.
Yeah. And there were a couple of holes where I was like, they said that Westview was not a real place at all. It didn't exist, but yet it did exist. And I mean, there were a lot of like little holes and things here and there. At the end, I was like, hold on, wait, what about, what about, what about? And then I felt like the Hayward character, they didn't really flesh that out really well. They tried to force villainy on him when really he was one of the heroes in the episode, in the whole show, minus him shooting the kids. But if you stand back from the outsider's perspective, Wanda was the terrorist in the whole entire show. She was holding people hostage. She had them in nightmares. She was the main villain. And the Hayward character was trying to stop her from doing that. Now, whether he was being completely honest with the other people in the show, like Monica and Jimmy Woo and Darcy, he wasn't being honest with them, but he was trying to take out Wanda, who was holding a whole entire town, thousands of people hostage. Wouldn't they do that in real life? But again, he was being sneaky with the vision and all that kind of stuff. But if you stand back and look, the only thing that really was villainous of him was the shooting of the kids. And that seemed really awkward and random in the show. But everything else on the back end,
Really, because taking Vision and deconstructing him, and then blaming Wanda for stealing his body when she didn't really do it, that's not villainous.
I don't know. Did he really blame her?
Yeah.
because in the show, like they were showing later that she didn't, and like a lot
Right.
of the
That's what
other,
I'm saying. But it was based on him saying that she had stolen, but he knew full well that she hadn't. So
but the
yeah,
rest
he
of the
put that
company
on
did though,
her.
didn't they?
No, no, he's total baddie. You know, I
It
what
just
you
failed
have
for
is
me. It just failed for me. His character was a failure in its essence.
I think it served its purpose. It's just one more guy within, a bureaucratic system that's trying to get a leg up and doing it any way he can, and which sets us up for Monica Rambeau being able to take over as director of Sword.
That helps
I
out. Yeah, yeah.
that's all that really is there for.
Wonder what Nick's
Wanda
doing
being the
though.
main bad guy is not even accurate either, because Wanda's really just confused and distraught and going through this difficult time, and so she's just kind of acting out in whatever way she can. Our real baddie is Agnes Agatha, and it's even then it's sort of subjective, I guess you could say, but she's your real one. As far as the East View versus West View, Westview is Wanda's creation. Eastview is the actual place.
But even if they would have pulled back, it was still Westview. Like it still said Westview on the sign at
But
the
it's
very
supposed to
end.
be Eastview.
See, that was confusing too. But and the Agatha all along, like Agatha wasn't doing everything. It was Wanda. So that kind of fell through the loop. Unless they just said certain things Agatha did.
Well,
So
all the mysterious, hey, why is her brother showing up?
yeah,
That's
that's what I'm
an
saying. Like
Agatha
some
thing.
of the stuff, and so it was just I don't know. They didn't do it well for me. They didn't break enough down. There was a lot of because like at the end of it, there were so many people with so many questions, and it was like to me they didn't do a good job. And like I want some cliffhangers, but they pretty much didn't answer any questions at all. Almost none. The only questions they really answered is what's going to happen with Monica. We got that, and the teaser type of a thing, and then you got what Wanda's going to do, kind of leading into Doctor Strange 2. But a lot of the other stuff they really didn't flesh out really well. And I know obviously they're going to readdress a lot of the Wanda specific stuff is going to be addressed in Doctor Strange 2, and even
Well,
possibly
and
in
and,
Spider Man.
and like the White Vision, or
Yeah,
whatever you want to call them, versus her created vision. Is there still a potential of being able to join the two together? Is the White Vision going to be able to fully reclaim all of its memories? Yeah, no, I get all that, but again, that's just so that way they've got something to play off of later. I
yeah.
mean, whether you're talking about a second season or going into another movie or going into their own standalone movie.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do, man. I hadn't really heard anything other outside of Multiverse of Madness, which, by the way, I saw someone say Multiverse of Madness is an acronym for MOM at the
Yeah.
end. So I thought it was interesting. Not that that's directly tied, but the MCU can use anything they want to their advantage. But anyway, overall, I thought it was a good show. Uh, to me personally, I felt like the and I'm kind of a lone wolf in this. A lot of people love the finale. I was one of very few people that didn't really like it. My favorite part of it was the Vision and Vision chit chat. That was really my favorite part of the whole thing. I
Okay.
thought it was interesting. I was like, oh that kind of makes sense. So I thought that was really cool. And it was very Vision like. Um, so anyway, man, let's move on to Gina Carano. Is it Carano? I can never say her name.
Yeah, Karana. Yeah. So of course she's been fired. It's official. Um, but what's just I don't know. This kind of blows my mind. So, Kathleen Kennedy, um, has just I mean, like, she's got a grudge. She's just got a personal grudge out for Gina. She has gotten Hasbro to pull all of the toys off the shelves. So if you're looking for a brand new toy on the shelf in a store, like a Target or a Walmart or something like that, you're not going to find it. Hasbro's pulled them all off. They don't exist anymore. So as a result of that, what's happened? Go to eBay. Man, the prices people are asking for these toys is just outrageous.
I'm sure.
So if it's got a depiction of Gina Carano on it, it's going through the roof. So maybe like a pop is going to be reasonable, but I mean, and it's wild. It's all over the place. Anywhere from like $30 for a regular carded figurine on up to like $60 to $100 or something. It's stupid. So if you have one and it's carded, hold on to it, because that's it. They're not making any more of them, and what there is what there is. So
What was Jeff Favreau's? Because I saw a bunch of like headlines and things like that were saying he was upset, he was leaving Star Wars, he was leaving the Mandalorian, all this stuff. Is any of that true? Do you know?
I have not heard any solid information about John leaving Star Wars. There does sort of seem to be a bit of a potential conflict, a battle that's sort of ensuing between Jon Favreau and Darthlin Kennedy. I call it the Jedi Master Favreau versus Darthlin Kennedy. So that John has been working on a lot of stuff. Obviously, with Star Wars, he's got his fingers into a little bit of this, that, and the other. But one of the big things that he's kind of working on is a Thrawn series, which would be freaking amazing.
Live action
And
or animated?
it's live action as far as we know at this point. So and it's still all very, how far out. There's more announcements that are supposed to be coming. There's supposed to be some May 4th announcements. There's going to be some fourth quarter announcements, third quarter, fourth, or whatever it is, in the fall, late fall announcements that they're going to be doing of additional shows that they're working on. Which, again, it goes back to my problem of you might be giving us too much stuff that we're going to get burned out on it. But Darthlin Kennedy is supposed to be out of direct control of anything Star Wars by June, I think it is. So even before The Acolyte is supposed to start filming, she's not supposed to have any more control at that point in time. So what she does between now and then, who knows? But that's part of the reason why Star Wars fans are upset. They're discontinuing their D Plus subscriptions because they're so mad at Darthlin Kennedy and how Disney is embracing her and allowing her to still be so much a part of what's going on. She'll still be in charge of like a lot of the business aspects of Lucasfilm, but she won't be like hands-on so much within the specific shows once June rolls around. So it just remains to be seen, to be honest with you. It's this real specific, I would say almost hatred that Miss Kennedy has against Gina Carano. That, I mean, I understand that, I agree Gina Carano said some stuff. It was a little crass. It was off color. It wasn't really, it was stupid. Just put it blank. It was stupid. But was it specifically racist or anything else like that? No. Letting her go, okay, whatever, that's fine. But then going to the point where you're saying, dude, we're stripping all the toys off the shelf. That just tells me the character of Kathleen Kennedy. It's just that's not someone that I want at the helm. She's so agenda driven that I can't take it. If you're not going to be fair across the board, then don't give me that line about we want to be fair and equal, because you're not. Anyway, my 2 cents.
Moving on, Chloe Bennett.
Yeah. Sorry, Chloe Bennett. You may know Chloe Bennett from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She was Quake. Definitely a huge fan favorite. She has joined the cast of a CW launch of the Powerpuff Girls. Yeah. Live action Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, yay.
So the idea is that Powerpuff Girls have grown up. They've kind of gotten jaded about using powers and being super superheroes. I use that term very loosely. Obviously, I love the Powerpuff Girls.
I can see the
Anyway,
book behind you or a poster somewhere.
I'm genuinely disappointed that Chloe actually took this job. To be honest,
She must be
I
going broke.
I
Something.
would love for her to do more work. I think there's lots of avenues that places that she could be step into, TV wise, before hopefully she moves into a sword series or something. But yeah, Powerpuff Girls. So if you guys are into Powerpuff Girls, yeah. If not, then you'll just join me in the eulogy of Chloe Bennett's career. Anyhow, moving along.
It's only uphill from here, though.
I like this next one for sure. So Katrina Law, you may know Katrina Law from Arrowverse. She was Nissa Al Ghul. She briefly was on Hawaii Five O, which I was kind of excited about, and it was before I knew that Five O was going to be wrapping up their show. That it was the last season. And I was like, hey, awesome! We finally get to see some like legit acting chops from her. Because let's just put it plainly, CW is not known for quality acting. It's the soap opera of the superhero verse. Um, but anyway, she honestly, I felt like in 5 she was starting to really kind of bloom, and I was like, she's got some good skills here. I like this. I want to see more of her. And then 5 just drops, and I'm like, oh well, crud. Well, good news. Good news is she is going to be joining the cast of NCIS, the original NCIS.
Oh, wow.
So there's been speculation about whether or not they're going to even have another season because of the actor who plays Jethro Gibbs. He's Mark Harmon. He may be coming back. He doesn't want to come back, but they're not going to do the show unless he comes back, and he wants the show to continue, but not whatever. So hopefully we get to see her in that. Frankly, the talk about an NCIS Hawaii, I would rather see Katrina Law go to Hawaii and really kind of just head that whole thing up there. I think that'd be awesome. She's going to be part of the React team. So if you're a fan of NCIS, you know about the React team. So that's cool. So she's got more of an action kind of role anyway. So you do that whole thing in Hawaii. I think that's just like, that's perfect for her. So, but anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Gotcha. Well, Brian Welsh, if you listen to the show, you kind of know a little bit about Brian Welsh. He's he was the front man for Love and Death. Now, I'm not quite sure. I know he's still a guitarist, but he says that he felt like he went too far with Christianity. Now, what does that mean? So he said that when he first, and this is in an interview he did with, it was either Church Leaders or Christianity Today, but actually he was doing an interview with another rock person from another band or whatever on a podcast. But he was saying that he was very judgmental. He was very kind of pound the table, flipping over tables, that kind of an idea. He's very super duper what he considered a non-loving Christian. And I mean, I get that. I think a lot of us, when we first give our life to Christ, when we're first learning the Bible, we're telling everybody else what the Bible says. The Bible says we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that. These are commandments, and what Paul said, what Jesus said, this, that, and the other. And we can go and hit everybody over the head with that. Not saying that we shouldn't tell people things are of a sinful nature and X, Y, Z, but he said he went too far with it. So he rejoined the band in 2013, I think it was, or 2015 or something like that. And he's got a Loud Crazy Love documentary he did with his daughter. So go check that out. But essentially, he was just kind of encouraging people not to become hatred of those who were not in the faith when you come to faith. And so I feel like it was somewhat of a good message. And I can understand what he means by what he said. Some people feel like you can't go too far with Christianity, but I understand what he was saying. And also the Church Leaders podcast, if you don't follow that, it's very good. I enjoy it. There's a couple other podcasts that I listen to that had different people from leadership roles in the Christian faith, whether it's the secular world or the church world. So they're doing these like monthly episode or monthly series in a way. So February was focused on Christian nationalism. So they had people who have researched it, written books. They also had Franklin Graham up there, and people know that he is a very much Trump supporter. So it was interesting to see his take on it versus people who were kind of more on the we shouldn't focus on American nationalism as hard when we're presenting the gospel. And so it was interesting to hear the different perspectives. I thought it was really good. And so if you're interested in something like that, go check out the Church Leaders Podcast. All those episodes from February are on there. And, listening to them, and we've talked about this before, about too many people are American before they're Christian. And they let that shine everywhere in a way. And I do think we should be patriotic in a sense. Like we should respect our country, especially being the freedoms that we have as Americans. I am grateful to be an American. I don't know if I'd want to live in any other country, and that's easy to say without me never having visited another country. It's very easy for me to say based on what I see from media and stuff, but I do know that we have a lot of freedoms that a lot of our churches have a lot of freedoms that the Christian church doesn't have in other countries. I do know that much. So that's that. Do you have anything you want to add to that? You look like you were.
Yeah, Christian nationalism is seems like it's making a lot of other additional news these days, where people are white nationalists are using Christianity to support some of their violent and racist perspectives.
Yeah.
And so, right now the whole topic is really super touchy. So just be careful and understand, that there are differences here. When you're just talking about Christian nationalism versus white nationalists versus, I'm going to use air quotes here, white Christian nationalists. It gets messy real fast. I prefer to keep all those things separate, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's just, anyway, it's a bugger, and we could do a whole nother segment on all that. So
absolutely.
Let's go move on to some music news. So in music news, Demon Hunter dropped their new album, Songs of Death and Resurrection. So these are except from one are all previous tracks that they had released, and they have redone them. So I wouldn't say that they're like an unplugged totally, because they're not, but they definitely revamped them. They're all definitely much slower, even though some of the originals are kind of slow tracks anyway. But they went really creative with them. If you want to hear the original tracks and then the new resurrected tracks, as most people are just referring to them as, you can go onto Spotify. You can look me up at and Shawn, or you can go to our website, right?
As of yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if we got it up on the website or not. You can check out the Spotify playlist that I created, where the original track plays and then the new resurrected track plays. And again, all with the exception of one track, which is a brand new track. So check that out. I would say this, though. If you're a Demon Hunter fan, don't go into this album thinking that you're listening to Demon Hunter, because it doesn't feel that way.
No, it doesn't.
All the lyrics are still super moody and super deep and everything. But you're not, if you're banging your head, you're listening to something else. You're not listening to this album. And that's okay. I think that departure for them on this, I think that's okay. I think it shows them stretching themselves a little bit, working a little bit outside of that box. I wasn't a fan of Peace because of how slow it was and everything. But this isn't like that. In general, I'm not normally a big fan of slower tracks anyway, but this doesn't come across that way. This comes across as like a whole separate project, and it just happens to be Demon Hunter. So
Yeah, yeah, it's very different. I thought it was interesting. I enjoyed some songs better than others.
sure.
I'm not a ginormous fan of the upbeat acoustic sound. So I think there was a couple of tracks that seemed like they were more faster strumming acoustics, and I don't like those quite as much, just in general with any type of rock. But overall, I thought it was a good project. It was something different. And you know when you text me, you said don't go into it thinking this is Demon Hunter.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go into this thinking it's a completely different band. So I just completely throw out any subjectivity that I already
Yeah.
have.
No preconceived notions.
But it was good. I enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
yeah, man.
So, Fit for a King, keeping with more metal news, has re-released Creation Destruction on vinyl. They've got two limited vinyl editions. One of them is just like really super cool. It's got this red, clear, and black stripes kind of going through it. As soon as that stimulus check comes in, Biden, I'm ordering that thing for sure. It's hot, man. Check it out if you're a fan of Fit for a King. They've re-released that album on vinyl. So and it is limited. So when it's gone, it's gone, and then you'll have to pay like $100 on eBay. So don't do that. It's only $20 right now.
Yeah, man. So this actually released before the last episode, but I missed it. Lacey Sturm has a new song out
Mhm.
called "Stay to Me."
Okay.
After we listened to we talked about Love and Death, their album, her being on that album, I was like, I really want some more hard Lacey Sturm, and this is a little more raw and harder at that. And so I enjoyed it. It's not her hardest vocal performance, but it was good. It sounded like the original Flyleaf, which I'll be talking about later today on the show. But I enjoyed it, so go check that out. That's Lacey Sturm, Sturm, Stay to Me. So before I'm gonna do the our Good Brothers album, NF released his single "Lost" featuring Hobson. So if you don't know, I really enjoy Hobson as a rapper. He's a dope rapper. To me, he raps better than almost anybody in the hip hop industry. He doesn't necessarily make the best songs all the time, but he's one of the best rappers in my humble opinion. So him being on a hot or on a an NF track is really good. They released a music video, and he actually references. Hobson has a line in it that says, "I'm praying to the Lord with the Book of James open," and I'm like, yes. I'm like, Jesus, please be working in this man's heart. We got an article on the website saying praying for Hobson, and it's actually one of our most higher viewed articles. So I know there's more Christians out there praying for him. So if he happens to come out as an open Christian again, I think that'd be great. But I really pray for discipleship. I think that's what happened the lack of what happened the first time. So we really need to be praying, and that's true for anybody who comes to Christ. They need to be discipled. Speaking of which, Rare Breed has dropped a new song and album. So he dropped a song called "God Knows" featuring Big Smo. If you don't know, Big Smo is a country rapper. There's a lot of country rappers. Well, I want to say a lot. There's a few country rappers out there. Big Smo is one of them. Haystack's also on his album called "God Twang." So I enjoyed it, man. Have you had a chance to check out the album yet?
Yeah. I went ahead and listened to the whole thing today. I got the email link. I'll be ordering my CD again. Biden, as
Yep.
soon as I get my stimulus money, I'll be ordering their CD because I like physical copies. And then I'll just rip it so that way I have a digital version of it. But yeah, the thing is that we've heard some of his some of these tracks, whether when he dropped the individual singles, But we also, as a friend, we kind of have little bits because we're fans. We keep up with them on social media, and so we've gotten little bits of some of this stuff anyway. It's a really well-rounded album. There's some albums on there where or some albums. There's some tracks on there that are much more deep, very emotional, very personal. And he just, he's always been really awesome about being open and sharing his life. His life is his testimony. His testimony he shares freely. So he shares his life freely. And that's just always been one of those fantastic elements that I love about what Rare does. He's just, and it comes through in all of his tracks, having that little country feel to it. I wasn't real sure because he'd been talking about doing this for a while,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
when he first told us, I was like, okay, sure,
You
whatever.
weren't nervous, were you?
This ain't gonna work, bro. But I really like it, and I don't buy much hip hop anyway. Of course, I always try to get Rare stuff anyway, just because I love supporting him. But I'm actually gonna, I'm buying this because I really enjoy the full album. Not to say I didn't enjoy his other stuff, but I really do enjoy this as a full album.
Yeah, yeah. I really do appreciate it. He hit me up. It was funny because I saw he was dropping a music video, and I was like, "Hey, man, where's the album at? You said you were dropping it in March." And he said, "Well, I hadn't really promoted it any." And I was like, "Dude, you ain't promoted it at all, man. I haven't seen anything on social media." He was like, "Man, I'm just going to drop it." And I was like, all right. Well, we got you covered on Solomon's Porch. We'll have you covered on Track Stars. We're going to cover you the best we can. Make sure this thing is pushed and people check it out, listen to it. So make sure y'all check out Rare Breed's God Twang. It's a great album. It's its own thing. It doesn't fit anywhere in a neat box in Christian hip hop. I know that's not a Lecrae, let me out of this box kind of a mentality. It is this is just Rare being himself, and you can really feel and tell that it is him being himself. So I
Well,
appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. In there's only 8 tracks on it, which I would have liked to have had more for sure. But I think what he did is he stuck with the essence of what he knew that he wanted to get on this album that made it feel like a complete project, and it does. Stained Glass Windows is his last track, and it's probably his most worshipful track. And it's a fun track to listen to. Of course, he had already dropped it prior to the album, and so you go through that range of far more hip hop sounding stuff to some that are definitely far more country sounding to this really nice worship track. But it all blends seamlessly. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So go check it out, and I hope y'all enjoy it. Well, I know you'll enjoy it. So that's it for the music news this week. We will be back with another segment soon. Stay tuned.